one of the most fun bits of our weekend. But one of the most fun bits of the weekend for you is seeing all of these feature matches during our European World Championship qualifiers. In front of me, I have our first feature match. We have Emre and Erikas, who are ready to kick off this weekend and see which of these two is going to be making their way towards that World Championship qualifier and that European Championship. Gentlemen, we are going to be taking our hold of these high rolls and seeing what's going on. Who is going to go first? That's a 10. Okay, you going to go first, Emre? Emre is going to go first. I'm going to hand you guys over to Tom, Nadir, and Alberto, who are going to be your trio to take you through our first feature match. Gentlemen, we're kicking it off. The European Championships are underway.
Thank you, Ed, and welcome everyone viewing this at home. This is the European Championship 2024 here in Berlin, Germany. The journey towards Seattle in the United States of America for that World Championship coveted spot is underway. This is a record-breaking largest European Championship we've ever had, and we have an incredible amount of action underway. Some of you may have already tuned in yesterday to take a look at the World Championship playoffs. You can have a look at that through the VOD or the YouTube channel at Yu-Gi-Oh! Card EU to check out some of the action that has already been taken place. But of course, we're here to find and crown a new European champion. Tom, are you excited for this weekend?
I'm super excited. I love the European Championships. It was my favorite event as a player, and I think it's my favorite event as a caster as well. You get all of the best players from around Europe who have all had to qualify to be here. What do you think, Alberto?
No, I mean, yeah, it's incredible to be back here in this beautiful venue, and I mean, this is the moment all the players have been waiting for the whole year, and I mean, they've been battling out and waiting for this moment to qualify for the World Championship. Honestly, it's an amazing atmosphere, and I mean, more than 2,000 duelists we have today. It's going to be an amazing day of action, and honestly, I really can't wait to see our first feud match and to start things off. Yeah.
All right. I believe we will have some of the breakdown of the rules and such soon, but without further ado, I think we would like to get over to the duelists immediately. Let's head on over to the table and see what happens for this round one feature match. Welcome back, everyone. Here it is. We have the reigning current world champion for Master Duel, Emre versus Erikas here, who is actually on a Fiendsmith deck, but not the one that you would be most accustomed to. What do we think about this?
I mean, it must be the one that you're very excited to see. You always say it every time there's tournaments to do, you're like,
absolutely.
Yes,
Tiara of its strongest. Only a pros for 3.
I just noticed that. Is that allowed?
Well, we know. I think we know why it's only 3, right?
I guess so.
We need the extra deck space for for that simultaneous equation, probably.
So, like, Prosper's worse than Duality in this in this deck. You're only going to do it for 3.
Why not both?
Why not both?
Well, you can't special summon, right? That's the differential there. There's a simultaneous equation right there, as you can see. And is he going to pick it up? I wonder how much homework he's done on the math behind this. Looks like we're only going to pick up Imperm. Imperm, not as high impact as simultaneous equation, is it?
Maybe he's already got a cannon.
Yeah. So Labyrinth as a pick was not exactly popular, because we expected mostly Snake Eye variants in the World Championship playoff match yesterday, but Labyrinth was, I think, one of probably the second most represented. There was at least 2 players who took it into that very condensed, high skill format of these players trying to qualify for the World Championship. So it's definitely probably the best anti-meta pick of sorts for this event. Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I think playing more than 15, 18 Entrapped in your main deck may really help you out playing a deck such as Labyrinth, especially because we saw that our players may rely not to play cards such as Lightning Storm, for example, to deal with the back rows. So I think, like, in general, this strategy may help him out throughout the weekend, and I think Labyrinth is one of those decks that, if can really make into the final rounds, you don't really want to face it, because it's very, it's very difficult to play against it. And we just saw Emre setting 5, And it's not going to be easy for Erikas, honestly, to navigate through this, but I think still this is a more than decent start with terraforming and taking the Shayrin.
I would say that this is a fairly good matchup for Tearlament with not so much resilience that the Labyrinth deck offers other than, you know, that lovely destroy effect. It's not exactly the greatest thing to use against the deck of graveyard utility that Tearlament offers, so it really is the simultaneous equation cannon that could potentially cut everything off with the ability to remove cards rather than destroy. As we begin with revealing Tearlament Shayrin pitching Medora. Here we go, let's mill 3 tier cash, not a bad hit, and that's a Rhino Heart.
Is it too shiny for you?
Oh, that's very shiny.
Got to bring your shiniest cards if you're going to be on the feature.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you got to represent here, and Erikas actually representing all the way from Lithuania. From the eastern side of Europe, it's quite a journey, but playing the Tearlament deck here as, well, it's looking not too bad here as we trigger both, it looks like. Did we trigger the Rhino Heart? I think we must have.
Yeah, surely.
Yeah. Preemptively using the Welcome Labyrinth to special summon from the deck here.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. I mean, one thing about Welcome Labyrinth is it summons lovely, and then your other traps can no longer be responded to by monster effects, which is maybe an underrated part of the effect.
Yeah, so do you think there's a way to like block off multiple grave effects if you time your trap activation at the right time?
No, because it's Erikas' turn, right? So he's always going to get to put his effects first on the chain.
Okay.
If he's got trigger effects.
So that was a discard of Havness, I believe, and the tier cache also milling 2 spells there, one of which is a Scream, which is going to fetch a trap card, and we're also going to send here, so it means we will be able to perform a fusion summon. We have the materials required for, well, either one of the smaller fusions in the shape of Mud Dragon, potentially, for the targeting protection, or Kaleido Heart. That's a skill drain. Did we trigger the Havness? I know he must have...
It must be the Rhino Heart this is negating, right?
Yeah, for sure. But I'm just wondering if this Havness is going to trigger here, because if we do a fusion summon, the Primeval Planet Perla Rhino is going to be able to destroy a card.
Yeah, that skill drain I can't imagine is long for this game.
Yeah.
It's got a big target on its back.
So the advantage of Tearlament kind of rearing its head here, because this is really what the deck is good at, is the ability to play through specifically Destruction and back row quite well. And having the utility of a field spell that destroys every time you perform a fusion summon once per turn, it really is a powerful effect here.
Oh, this is nice, actually. I mean, maybe you can activate the Perla Rhino as Chainlink 2, and the Kaleido Heart as Chainlink 1, and then it will resolve.
Yep.
That sounds kind of fun.
Do you think you just pick apart the back row here? Do we want to get rid of the Lovely?
I think in these trap-heavy decks, I really like the idea of just getting rid of the monsters. Erikas doesn't agree.
Yeah, it's a good point. Picking away the monster means that they then have to try get back into engine, and then one of the disadvantages of hitting back row is, you know, if you hit something chainable, it feels almost valueless unless it is a very critical point of the game where it's something you're forcing. But yeah, I agree with you. I generally really like getting rid of their offense.
Maybe you do need to force out the cannon, though. Like, if it's there.
True.
If you don't force it out, then at some point it's going to be very upsetting.
We're thinking long on this chain here, and maybe it's for math. Oh, there is the Daruma cannon. Yeah. So yeah, in this exact situation, you know, if you get rid of the monster, it's significantly better here. We haven't used our normal summon still, however. Not too much left here. Oh no, we got 4 cards in hand. Still got many ways to play.
So quite an interesting interaction. Oh, here comes the big welcome. But yeah, it's quite a fun thing to do. If your opponent has a skill drain, like, and you summon a monster, you just activate the monster effect. And then sometimes your opponent, like, I mean, I'm thinking of like old school cards like Bottomless Trap Hole, but I mean, Labyrinth is playing Torrential Tribute, right? So if they wanted to use Torrential Tribute and they chained it to your monster effect, then your monster effect would still resolve.
Yep, skill drain is for the field only, so if you can get your monster off of the field or destroy the skill drain as a higher chain link, you'll still be able to push through your effect here. And Emre using the big welcome semi-preemptively here just to get the Lady online, so that the last and final trap card, when it's activated, will be able to fetch a resource from the deck when we do inevitably flip this last trap card here. And I think, like, just in terms of raw card advantage here, I quite like Erikas' position right now.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff going on for him.
Very unfortunate Mills. Nothing great at all hit from the tier cache. Getting 3 cards into the grave. Oh, going to continue with the B-Steals here. B-Steals actually work quite okay in tier limit because they are level 6. And of course we saw the popularity of B-Steals making a resurgence as hand traps just because of the Fiendsmith engine.
Yeah, I mean, and now we have 2 monsters, and we know what that means in a deck running Fiendsmith. It means you can activate talents.
Wow. What was the monster effect we had? Oh, the hand summon, of course, of Lady there. So are we going to Talon's Take? We are, actually. Yeah, if a card that can't be targeted or destroyed, bit of a nuisance, well, it's not too hard to deal with if you just use triple tactics. Non-targeting steal into a Link Shaman. There we go. We're going to go into the Fiendsmith engine portion of the deck here. And this is where you can get the rank 6 quite easily. You can make Beatrice.
Yeah, this would be a rank 6, even if you didn't already have a level 6 hanging around on the field. Like,
yeah, just because of how good the B-Steals are.
Yeah, this has been destructive,
honestly. Yeah. I think this is a very good matchup, like for Erikas in general. With the Pearl Arena, you can just basically hit, Emre's most powerful trap cards, and it's just left with, one set card, which is, I think, not enough.
So that in response to the triple tactics, Emre didn't use the face down, meaning that I don't know if this face down is going to be used at a very late clutch point with the simultaneous equation potentially, or, well, actually we know it's an imperm, don't we? That was picked up from the duality, so that's the last card here.
Oh, that's really sad to be our last card, isn't it? Like, if you really want something to do a bit more than imperm.
It's a little bit more higher impact for sure.
Was that a battle phase?
Yeah, I suppose we are not going to go into sequence since we know that we would just get negated on it. We don't have a spare level 6 after that to make a rank 6.
So just go straight into the Beatrice, right? And that'll presumably force out the imperm.
Yeah, Beatrice, and then activate it. I mean, you probably have to use the imperm here, but then Beatrice can just be used again as a quick effect on the following turn.
Super cool play from Erikas. He's holding the imperm.
Emre actually letting that resolve. Maybe just wait for the fusion at this point. It could be the right play. Ooh, okay, we're going to send Sulik, I believe, to search a monster. We still have a normal, although we have used Rhino Heart's effect, so what are we trying to get here? We've used tier cache. We're just going to get tier cache. Okay, probably
follow up, yeah.
Yeah, you can use it in the opponent's turn as well as a quick effect to special summon.
And that's a Suliek face down, right?
Yeah, so we've got a Sulik live once we get that tier cache online, and we also have the ability to fuse with Beatrice. And then in the end phase here, we can just use the Pearl Rhino as well to destroy. So end of main, remember main phase for tier cache gets to mill 3 here. Grief, I think that retrieves Banish Traps. Yeah, there it is.
That's cool. Yeah.
Not bad, free resource.
I think there is still a Shuffler in grave for Erikas, so maybe he could trigger his Pearl Rhino.
Yeah, but I assume he'll probably try and do that with the Beatrice. Although I assume by now Emre will want to use that on the use the imperm on that.
Yeah, exactly. So you can just pop the imperm, and then if he chains it, then you can chain Beatrice to imperm. Or not. Did we not add a card for the Magnumit?
I think
in
he
the end
didn't.
phase?
I think he did not. Yeah.
Oh yeah, must have missed the Magnumit resolution.
Yeah.
If he declared it, should have gotten that in the end phase.
Yeah. I think he did declare, but he just forgot.
Yeah, perhaps if the judges can clarify that, it isn't going to be super relevant in this situation. It does look like it's in a bit of a bad situation, and Emre is actually going to pick up his cards here. Wow, scooping it up. Game number 1, round 1 of the European Championship concludes with a tier limit victory.
Yeah, kind of surprised, honestly, that, I mean, 5 set cards basically did nothing. Like, I think it may work out very well against, like, Fiendsmith Snake Eyes or Fiendsmith Jubel, but, against decks such as Tearlaments, which has the Pearl Rhino, I think it's not easy, honestly, to deal with that. And I think Erikas was, was very good. And, yeah, credit to him, the deck was very well, and with the addition of the Fiendsmith as well, I think it's very consistent. And now the pressure is on Emre, honestly, because I don't think he was even expected to face a deck like this, to be fair. But I think he's well prepared for the side deck in general, either going first or going second. What do you think, Tom?
I'm not sure. I'm guessing he'll go first. I just had a look at his side decking there. It looked like he was siding out a couple of copies of the Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere mode, so that seems like a card you'd prefer going second to going first. I'm interested in this card you've highlighted here, Iron Thunder. Maybe you can get that up, Nadir, for everyone. It's a good new trap card.
Yeah, so it's counter trap that works basically like Solemn Strike,
It's
I
a
want
bit
to
like
say.
a Solemn Judgment, really.
I think
it
it's
negate
a Solemn
summons?
Judgment. Yeah. Spell trap or monster effect is activated. You basically play half of your life points and negate
Yeah.
the activation. So it's like you play
So-
6.
Yeah,
Like,
so it doesn't prevent the summon, but on the bonus effect, really, I suppose if you think about it, is rather than just on top of counter trap destroying and negating basically anything, you get to hit all cards in the column. Not every day you see a card like that, but Iron Thunder is...
It's a bit of a downside, actually. If your opponent knows what they're doing, because normally, obviously, now everyone is used to playing around impermanence. You put your cards in different columns to your opponent's spells and traps. But now, if you have a monster and you put it in the same column as your opponent's trap card, and then they activate Iron Thunder, which is in a different column, then you'll have to destroy your own trap card, which is obviously not something you want
have
to do.
to be careful about that. Yeah.
So, like, now you want to put your monsters, like, in the same columns as your opponent's trap cards if you're playing around Iron Thunder. And your spells and traps in different columns.
I think it's one of those cards where you get hit by it once, you never lose to it again. You know, in the same way that people used to sometimes play into imperm columns, we just never see people playing imperm columns anymore.
Yeah, but it's so ingrained to put cards in different columns now. I
Yeah,
think people
absolutely.
are going to, like, absent. Like, if you don't have a monster on the field now, it's correct to put your spells in the same column as your opponent's.
See, I have a habit of always summoning my monster in zone 3 or 5, because those are the ones that play around Transverser and Anima.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah.
Well, not zone 3, but specifically the furthest right zone. You know, that's usually what you do there. But anyway, the matchup here is it's really poor, I feel like, for Labyrinth. As mentioned, the Pearl Rhino puts in so much value and effort into this matchup. Something like Skill Drain you would see in your opening hand with Labyrinth, you'd think like this might just auto-win potentially against something like Snake Eye, but in this case, not quite. It looks like our players are ready, however, for game number 2. Let's head on over to the table and see what happens for game number 2. So here we are, back again, and Emre most likely wanting to go first again. It's a set 5 dream, but, you know, there's a lot to be said about the potential side deck for something like Tearlament. Revealing the Lord of the Heavenly Prison in the hand here, protecting 3 set cards.
That's interesting from Emre here. You saw him set cards, like, deliberately, one at a time. I don't know. Like, do you do that, or do you just set them all at once? So you...
I like to hand shuffle and then just throw them down, just so it doesn't give any indication as to where the cards are.
Yeah, I know, I agree with that.
Because I think psychologically sometimes people set their best cards first.
Yeah, that was the classic thing when I was a kid at locals. That was what people would tell you. You'd be like, people always set their best card first. If you're going to MST, just MST the one they set first.
Yeah. There's a summon of Fenrir here, which is a really great tool in Tearlament, as Fenrir is just a really powerful monster, but also fetching new engine in the power of Tearlament Kashtira.
You can tell Emre is not happy to see this Fenrir, honestly, and he's having a bit think about this because the Fenrir itself does so much. Let's see, maybe he has a Solemn Judgment or... Okay. He has the Welcome.
Welcome Labyrinth being flipped here just to get Lady or Lovely online. I think using your Lovely Destroy effect on Fenrir is okay, but with 5 in hand, having basically committed no resources, I mean, what do you hit? That's the problem, right? Like, I think like the field spell is one of the better pops in this matchup.
It's like the Lovely Destroy, even though it's amazing in most matchups, against Tearlament, it's not really that premium, is it? Because destroying their cards, like, you can't safely destroy a card in the hand. It might just trigger a card effect. You don't, I mean, you can destroy the field spell, but you're never going to get to stop them searching.
Exactly.
So it feels like you've kind of lost out already.
Trap Trick immediately here, okay.
It's a massive commitment.
Yeah, last trap card to be used this turn, so 1 remaining depending on what we go for here. Of course, this is Lovely on the field, not a Lady, which means we're not getting a bonus trap off of this. I'm wondering if we're even going to bother triggering Lovely in this turn.
And presumably whatever trap card he gets now will
Just a
trigger
big
the
welcome,
Lovely.
okay. Wow, really are just going to commit to the big welcome destroy on Fenrir, and then potentially summon out the Lord, and then Lord's going to be able to set a card for next turn. That's, yeah, just a huge commitment here, however.
He's going to have no other trap cards this turn. So, is he running any spell cards? The defensive, some players run some of the runic cards, but I don't think I saw them in his deck list.
I think there's only one running destruction in the side deck, but beside that,
yeah, so
nope.
This is kind of it. I mean, Erikas has probably got to know that as well, that there's probably not going to be any other interruptions this turn.
We've got the field spell. It's Primeval Planet, Pearl Rhino at 3 copies still, as well as the Terraform. You've got 4 of them all together. Great consistency, and the resource, the tool, the destroy tool, of course, the massive portion of the power that this card offers in this specific matchup here, searching Rhino Heart.
Yeah, I mean, what does it matter? All the elements are limited when you can search any of them you like.
They are nice to mill, I suppose. Still haven't triggered the Lord in the hand here, using it to protect the last final back row. Does make sense. The ability to fetch a card from the deck is really powerful, but protecting your set card from being destroyed is at least going to, you know, give you something for the following turn. But again, remember, the trap trick has resolved, so we don't have any more disruption other than a hand trap, but
Which
2 cards in hand.
With a Tsuchinoko.
Yeah, probably Garura or Mud Dragon.
I've never seen someone just not use a danger in their hand.
Rank 4 play here, 2 water monsters, makes Bahamut Shark. Bahamut Shark can then summon Totally Awesome.
Like, couldn't you just set the field spell and then activated Tsuchinoko? I don't, like... like, if you didn't want to discard the field spell, but, like...
Maybe there's some very good cards in hand that we don't want to get rid of?
I've never seen someone just not use a danger in their hand.
Emre's thinking here about using the Lord on Resolution. Yeah, so on the summon of Bahamut Shark, we need to use it here because this is basically the last opportunity we have to be able to use our card uninhibited, since the Bahamut Shark will be summoning the Totally Awesome, a rank 2, the Omni Negation, a really powerful card that saw some huge plays back in 2016-17, making a resurgence in the tier limit strategy.
Emre's kind of putting it all on the table now.
I think Emre was just checking if you can activate Lord, but it has to actually be in response to the new chain of a card being activated.
I mean, this would be, like, devastating if Erikas can get to a Kaleido Heart and shuffle away the set spell or trap and attack over the
absolutely
lady. Emre's just going to have nothing left.
Yeah, we may witness something that happened in game 1 as well, because now it's mill 3, but there's a Scream.
and Fenrir,
Two
and Solid.
searches.
All right, so that is a Shire into the hands. Or did we use our normal summon? Rhino Heart, right?
Yeah, Rhino Heart.
Yeah, so if we have a discard, Shiren's going to be really nice here. And of course, we do get a free trap, so we can search another Sulik, or we can search something like Crime. Oh, he is actually playing Crime.
Yeah, in the side deck.
Yeah. Crime really good in a matchup like this, being able to use as a counter trap, discard a monster in the process of negating a monster spell trap. This is looking really grim for Emre, I'm not going to lie.
There's the Magma.
Oh,
That's
the Magma.
lovely.
See, you really hated the Tsuchinoko non-usage, but all of these cards in hand actually really useful.
They've been pretty good.
Yeah.
And now we can go Fiendsmith time. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, just the power of the Fiendsmith here giving you even further plays to go into a rank 6 now. Super, super powerful.
Because the deck, when it made its resurgence maybe about a year ago, people were really heavily leaning into Beatrice as one of the most powerful cards in the deck. And you can make Beatrice so easily now with the Fiendsmith, so it makes a lot of sense to include in this deck. I know you're upset that the Mill 5
Yeah, we were talking about
included.
this before, but for those of you who may not be aware, Chaos Ruler Magic Dragon was a card that sadly got lost its pathing in Yu-Gi-Oh! About a year ago. But Pilgrim Reaper is a generic rank 6 that allows you to just mill 5. Perhaps we can ask him about that once this duel has concluded. But yeah, it is a card that some tier limit decks I've seen actually play, since Fiendsmith can make rank 6s really easily. Just mill 5 is fun fun effect, but, you know, can't be understated just how powerful Beatrice is, because it's a targeted mill, right? Like, you know exactly what you're getting. It's not as fun, I suppose, but it gets you what you gotta get. And there it is, 3 monsters being fused here.
I mean, yeah, I guess you can't target the lady yet, so you can't just win the game with this hit, but it's still looking pretty good.
Wouldn't be surprised if we also had another Talents. Although you most likely want to side that out, I think, against Labyrinth.
And Emre didn't use that set card at all, so I was wondering what that...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course, we can just use the send effect here, and that is more than enough on the field here.
I think it is, right?
That's so much damage.
Yeah. GG, wow! 2-0ing the world champion. Erikas off to a mighty good start, I think, for his WCQ run.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the stuff of dreams. Can you imagine if you just say, okay, you're going to be picked on feature to play one of the best players here, and you're just going to win 2-0 in the first round in like 20 minutes. That's just got to feel insane.
Yeah, I mean, like, what a feeling from Erikas, especially because, like, you're on streaming round 1, you have some pressure because of the event, the atmosphere and stuff, and then you win, like, in 20 minutes, like, and with an impressive show-off, I would say, because, like, that worked incredibly well. And I have to say that maybe Emre picked up the worst matchup in the room.
That's the thing. I will say that Tier Limit, how the Snake Eye matchup goes, but against non-Snake Eye decks, especially Labyrinth, it's a really, really good matchup for you. You know, it can't be understated just how good Perla Rhino is, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only downside is maybe some people are running Shifter in their Labyrinth deck. That's got to be a card that's on your radar if you're running Tier Limits. But
yeah,
luckily, no Shifters in sight. Nothing in Emre's deck list, so...
Lots of deck lists playing Shifter. We'll be seeing that potentially in the shape of Tenpai and Flunder, if anyone is still playing that at the WCQ this weekend. But yeah, definitely one of its advantages. Altogether, I think, other than the Fiendsmith cards, it is just Tier Limit, right? Nothing too special there. It's kind of just doing what it's always done best, which is performing these powerful fusion summons, taking away resources from your opponent with the field spell. Emre got to pick himself back up after this one, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he has a long run ahead of him, 12 rounds of Swiss, so I mean, that's still a long way to go. But, I mean, yeah, losing round 1 always, you know, you don't really feel like, you know, yeah, I mean, I lost, but, you know, still 8 rounds to go for the day, so which means that, you know, nothing to cry about. I mean, these kind of matchups exist, and especially because, like we saw, the Fiendsmith addition to the Trailman decks, I mean, gave such a boost to the deck that, you know, allowed basically Erikas to win the deck, to win the duel in basically 1 turn. So it's it was very impressive, I would say. And no, I mean, like, I feel in general the deck works well. I expect a lot of different matchups throughout the day, honestly, beside, of course, like the most popular ones, which will be, in my opinion, the Fiendsmiths, you know, Snake Eyes, Jubel. I don't know if you guys have one preferred deck to win the event. I used to have my friendly bet with Marcello. I don't know if you guys, you know, want to take that risk, but because otherwise I always jinx it when I say it. But
yeah, we have a bit of time, I think, as our player interview is just about getting ready. We have some slides to show you as well. So predictions for this one, I think Snake Eye is definitely the favorite. What do you think?
My heart says Jubel. Like, I love the deck. I mean, we're talking about how much fun it is, Tier Limits, like fusioning from your graveyard. So why not pick another deck that can also fusion someone from the grave and also summon like Jubel? Isn't that kind of fun? That's going to be the pick from my heart.
All right, and for you?
Well, I would have picked as well Jubel because I really like it, but I will, you know, pick something completely different. I would say, like, runic variants.
A runic variant, okay.
Yeah, some sort of runic variants, you know, something different.
Yeah, I'm going to give you Ritual Beast as my favorite pick. That's what I'm looking forward to. Looks like our player is ready for an interview. Erikas is going to be talking to Ed, and we might also have some post-match analysis as well, so stay tuned for that. Take it away, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Nadir. Yes, I am here with the winner of our round 1 feature match here at the European WCQ in Berlin, Erikas Savekis, who's just won with that Tier Limits deck against the current world champion of Master Duel, Emre Kizillates. So, first of all, congratulations, Erikas. How does it feel to beat a world champion?
Well, it feels great. I mean, winning already feels great, but winning against world champion feels even greater.
So you're no stranger to topping because you were top 32 at YCS Dortmund with Tielemans as well.
Yes.
So what made you bring Tielemans back to this current format? Because we're seeing a lot of, Fiend-Smith Snake Eye. What made you bring this here?
One good thing about Fiend-Smith, it helps Tielemans as well. Maybe it doesn't help as much as the best decks of Snake Eyes and Ubel, but it still helps my favorite deck, that is Tielemans, which I've been playing for like 2 years, and I just enjoyed the deck to play.
What is it you like about it?
I mean, the non-linearity. Your opponent confused of what you do. You have to think a lot. You have a lot of effects to resolve. You can gamble a lot with milling good cards, milling bad cards. Sometimes it's your day and you can win. Sometimes it's not your day, and things happen.
And in that, it was quite an interesting matchup because you were against a tough duelist who's very experienced with the Labyrinth deck. But with things like Pearl Rhino, you were really able just to get rid of skill drain and just keep playing.
Yeah, Pearl Rhino is really good into these kind of slower games against Labyrinth or other slower control decks.
Is there anything you're worried about going up against as the tournament goes on with your current deck?
FTK decks like Gimmick Puppet is really scary. Branded is scary because I play less hand traps, so these kind of decks is really scary. I feel like I'm prepared against Snake Eyes Ubel enough for this.
You'd hope so in this current format. Are you worried about the Snake Eye and the Ubel Fiend-Smith sort of decks? Are you worried about either of those, or are you pretty confident?
I'm pretty confident.
Cool. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah.
Congratulations on winning that round one. We'll give you some time to go and decompress a bit before you get into round two. But best of luck in the rest of the tournament. Congratulations again, Erikas. Guys, we're about to bring you a brand new feature here on our European coverage. I'm going to hand you over to our analysis zone, where Leo is going to be taking you through a couple of highlights from this match. Leo, take it away.
Hello also from the analysis zone. This is, as Ed said, a new feature we have for you guys, where I am standing next to a monitor and I'm going to analyze some of the plays here. And I just want to showcase the flexibility of the Tielemans deck. And Erikas is just the perfect player. He's very seasoned with the deck. And as you heard in the interview, he's also very passionate. So why don't we get the clip going? Because there's something very unique and special about the Tielemans deck. And you have seen it in the playoffs already. Some decks struggle against the skill drain. Most of the decks, in fact, do. Because Baptiste was running that card in the main deck even, with Griffin to auto-win some games. But Tielemans does not care about that. We have the Primeval Planet Pearl Rhino, and this is one of the most powerful field spell cards in the history of the game. Because of the attack boost. No, I'm just kidding. It searches a card and then provides infinite amount of flexibility. So you can actually, on summon here, you have seen that, activate Kaleido Heart as Chaining 1 while it's currently still negated. However, you have the Planet. Planet will be Chain Link 2, popping the skill drain before the Kaleido Heart is going to start resolving. And therefore, Emre is forced to react with the card that was targeted by a Kaleido Heart. It's going to read some of the cards here. We haven't seen Tielemans in quite a while now. And he's going to successfully get rid of two cards, one extremely strong Floodgate, as we call it, and is going to play around this extremely strong tool of the Labyrinth deck. Why was Skill Drain activated in the first place? Because Erikas was summoning the Tielemans Rhino Heart before. However, he summoned it via its own effect because he milled it with Shiren. Was able to discard a Havness, and therefore Emre was basically forced to activate it on the field effect of the Rhino Heart, but then couldn't stop the fusion summoning from happening, lost the skill drain, lost the Daruma Karma Cannon, which had to be activated immediately, which doesn't do anything because of the effect of Kaleido Heart, and it was already activated. And then, from that point on, it was child's play for Erikas. He just didn't really have to face any other problem card. There was one more big welcome, I suppose, and an impermanence, and that's just a field day, because he still had plenty of cards in hand. Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed our new analysis feature. For the next few rounds, we might get some more replays, some more highlights if we manage to find them in the games. And I'm pretty sure that we will. But for now, we're going into a short break. See you soon.